As we go into pathways, you'll have another icebreaker to do, so I'd like to welcome you to my third icebreaker. Looking back at previous icebreakers, I found that I talked a lot about myself, but that's not enough to fill a speech, so I also talked about my family and why I joined Toastmasters. Been married to the same lovely lady for 10 years now. Back when I first gave an icebreaker, I said my kids were 2 and 3. They're now 6 and almost 8. They are playing piano. This summer we're going to try ukulele, and they do ballet and tap, and we have our recital this weekend. I have a dress rehearsal this evening for the daddy-daughter dance. And I bet many of you are thinking I'd pay good money to see him dance. Tickets are for sale. It's this Saturday. My parents are still living in Wisconsin. Many of you have heard me talk about Wisconsin before, the land of magic tractors, where you'll see one driving down the street and it'll turn into a field. And not to be outdone, you'll see one, or not to be one-dimensional, but you'll see one driving in a field and it'll turn into a road. I have 3 sisters. My oldest, Kelly, is living in Phoenix. She moved there a few years ago, and in a couple weeks she's going to be coming back to Minnesota for the first time and staying here a couple weeks. It'll be the first time that my brother-in-law will have seen his family since moving out there, as my parents and I and my sisters have been able to go visit her in Arizona since she's moved there. She does speech pathology at a clinic, and she also does some nerdy academic stuff at Arizona State. My sister Janelle is still in Madison, working for UW Hospitals as a doctor, and she does infectious diseases cases with the hospital and research. My next oldest sister is Darcy, and she's CEO of a company that works with medical imaging technologies. I joined Toastmasters in 2013, looking to increase my professional abilities. After getting bad feedback, well, it wasn't really bad feedback, it just wasn't warm and fuzzy feedback that I'm used to, where I was lacking the ability to convey a message. And they offered the advice that, well, if you take on a little project, try to lead a project. And I kind of thought to myself, I don't need more work to be able to do the other work better. I had to do something different to get a different skill set. And while I joined Toastmasters for that ability to increase my professional capacity, it's the fun things that keep us all coming back. It's listening to other people tell their stories. This giving me an outlet to basically tell jokes, as Andon said before. It's a very open, helpful crowd that we have here. We all want to get each other better, and you shouldn't be afraid to kind of say anything. Try something new. You can talk about anything. I've talked about candle making, beer making, the creature from the Black Lagoon, drinking, and juggling fire. So with Pathways, I'm going to improve. I'm going to try to rely on notes a little bit less. One thing I found is that I like to be able to plan out exactly what I'm going to say so that it comes out exactly how I intended it to. But I'm going to try to use less notes, to plan things out better, really imbibe the information so that I can freely express it. With the icebreaker speech, I actually have a form you can fill out to try to get it together. As you can see, I didn't really do it, but I did use it to write my speech nonetheless. So. It takes confidence in knowing your material. I spent a day and a half at a baseball camp in high school of just hitting, a day and a half of hitting baseballs. And of all the exercises they had us do for a day and a half, there was a lot to remember. And as we were leaving, people were asking the coach, is there a handout we can take with us to remember everything? And he said, well, I just hope you remember it, because if you don't know it mentally, you don't know it. I thought that was interesting. But I'm excited about the Pathways. My interest was waning in some of the advanced manuals, so I was excited to see more sanctioned material come out and I'll have lots more speeches for you to come. Thank you.